In this lecture, we're going to run our first Qt Quick application on Android. This is the flow I recommend to setting up an environment until you run your Qt Quick application on Android. We have done these two steps here, creating the virtual device and running native app on Android in the last lecture. In this one, we're going to run our Qt Quick application on the device we created here, and we're going to see how we can generate some Android-specific template files to allow us to have more control on what we can do with our APK that is generated from Qt Creator. We're going to go to Qt Creator and do that. Okay, here we are in Qt Creator. We're going to create a new Qt Quick project. It's a Qt Quick application, an empty one. We're going to call it Android Demo and store it in a location on our drive. We want to click Next. Choose our Qt version, the usual thing really. And here we want to choose the kit for Android that we chose when we installed Qt and Qt Creator at the start of this course. We're going to choose x86 because it is faster to run on virtual devices. I'm going to untick ARM EABI. I'm going to click Next and finish. I'm going to change the title here to Android Demo. And inside, I'm going to put a rectangle. As usual, it's going to be red, and it's going to fill the parent. Inside, we're going to have a mouse area that is going to also fill the parent. And when it is clicked, we want to console log something. Okay, something like this will do. If we run this application on desktop, it is desktop by default, but you can see the kits that you can run for here. Okay, if you click this button, you're going to see we have a desktop kit and we have an Android kit. If you don't see Android here, you can come to projects here and make sure that it is selected Android for x86. If you want to see where your kits are set up, to remember this, because we said this in the first lectures of the course, you can come to Tools, Options, tick Build and Run, and see kits here. You're going to see our Android kits and the desktop kit here. The result is going to be that we have the kits here that we want to target. We're first going to run on desktop, see that it works, and then we're going to run it on Android. Run, it's going to run on desktop because the kit we selected here is desktop. It is the debug profile. We can open compile output to see the progress of our build, and you see our application here. Okay, it says Android Demo in the title. Remember, it is what we set up here. And if we click, it is going to say clicked on rectangle. Our application is working. It is a very basic application, but the purpose is to show you that you can run it on Android too. So to run on Android, come here to this icon here, the desktop icon, the computer icon here, choose Android. Okay, we choose Android for x86. We wait for Qt Creator to set up things for us. And when it's done, this is going to turn green. But before we run, I want to make sure that the setup that we did for the Android SDK, the JDK, the NDK are being picked up correctly by Qt Creator. I'm going to come to Tools here, Options, and I'm going to go down here to Devices. I'm going to click here on the Android tab, and you're going to see that it picked up the JDK location, which is this one. It picked up the SDK location, which is this one. It also picked up the NDK location, which is this one. If you don't have this set up correctly, please do set them up until you have these green ticks here. You see, Java settings are okay. Android settings are okay because we have the SDK and the NDK. If you don't see these ticks here, make sure that you are set up correctly and come back here. If everything is okay, we want to click OK here and close this window. And we want to click the green button to run our application. We wait a little bit. We see a window here that tells us to select a virtual device. Now I want to show you that I have my device running. If you don't have your device running before you run here, please have it ready before you run, because sometimes when you try to start it up from here, it doesn't start correctly. I don't know if this is a problem on my Windows environment here, but to play it safe, have the device here ready like this before you run your application like this. If you don't have it here, we saw how you can start it from Android Studio. So you should start up Android Studio, go to Tools and choose AVD Manager and choose your device to run. It really is not that hard. Okay, so we are going to click OK with our device selected here. It's going to wait a little bit. And if we look at compile output, it's going to output a lot of information that relates to our application. The application is being built basically. We can open the device here and wait for it to finish. Okay, you see that our application is running here, and we should see a red rectangle in here. Okay, we see that we don't see the title on Android. We just see the contents of what is in the window. If we come back to the compile output here, what you really want to see is build successful, and you see the message here. Let's open application output, bring up our virtual device, and if we click, you see that our message is shown here, clicked on the rectangle. So our app is really running on Android right now. Okay, now that we have the application running, I want to show you how you can add some Android specific files, like the Android manifest file, the drawable folder where you specify the icons, and you should really look up the Android documentation on these things if you need to know more about them. So the way we do that, I want you to come back to the projects here. Make sure you have Android for x86 selected here. Come to this choice here, Build Android APK. I want you to expand it like this. And down here, you're going to see a Create Templates button. I want you to click it. It's going to tell you where it is going to generate the file. If you like this location, please click Finish here. But it should be in the location where you generated your project. Okay, click Finish. And you see that it opens a file called Android manifest.xml file. This is a file that allows you to set up some settings on your Android application. This is a UI they give you to ease your process of setting up things, but it is limited. It doesn't give you everything. So if you need to see the whole thing, you should come to this XML source tab, and you're going to see everything in here. A bunch of things you can do in here is, for example, set an icon for your application. Okay, you can click this button here to select a low DPI icon. You can click this icon to choose a medium DPI icon, and you can click this one to set up a high DPI icon for your application. Okay, you can also set up a package name. For example, we can say Blykun Tech Android Demo. You can really do this. You can specify the minimum API for your application, the target SDK, and things like that. You should really look in the Android documentation for more information on this. Okay, so we looked at this Android manifest file. We should save it after we have applied our changes. Where is it located in our project? So we're going to do what we have been doing before. Click on the main QML file, choose Show in Explorer to go where this project is located. And inside, you're going to see that we have an Android folder. If we go inside, you're going to see the Android manifest file here. It is an XML file. And inside, we have a folder for resources. This is where we should specify our icons. These are the Gradle build files to put our project together on Android. And this is really all there is to it. You built your application for Android by selecting the kit for Android and hitting the green button here. I think this should be enough in getting you started on running your Qt Quick applications on Android. In the next lecture, we're going to look at how you can do the same for iOS. I have to warn you that I don't own Apple devices, so I am just going to show you steps you should follow to have your environment set up, and I'm going to give you references you should follow if you need to know more on building your Qt Quick applications for iOS. I'll see you in the next lecture.